All right, let's get to Kamala Harris. Okay, after 67 days of being the nominee, she sat for her. People are calling it the first solo interview. Yeah, I don't know what she did. Oprah.
I don't think that counts.
So I guess it doesn't
like
count.
A counseling session.
But she decided to sit down with MSNBC's Marcus Ruhle, and that was. Oh wait, so I'm sorry. Stephanie Ruhle.
Oh yeah,
different Ruhle. Stephanie Ruhle. Now, in case you are unfamiliar with Ruhle and why Kamala Harris decided to do an interview with her, she has spent the last several weeks saying that Kamala Harris actually does not need to do any hard-hitting interviews, and there's nothing wrong with only taking softballs. Here's a clip from her on Chameleon Bill Marsha.
I just said I'm not going to vote for her.
Is not running for perfect. She's running against Trump. We have two choices. And so there are some things you might not know her answer to. And in 2024, unlike 2016 for a lot of the American people, we know exactly what Trump will do, who he is, and the kind of threat he is to democracy.
I don't know.
It's unclear to me.
I don't think it's a lot to ask her to sit down for a real interview as opposed to a puff piece in which she describes
now watch this.
Her feelings of growing up in Oakland with nice lawns.
Then I would just say to that, when you move to Nirvana, give me your real estate broker's number and I'll be your next door neighbor. We don't live there.
I want that broad, said Kamala Harris when she saw that.
Yeah.
Jumped out of her chair.
Yes.
I'll be your neighbor. No, I'll be a Haitian family.
Yes.
My duck will be missing.
So she decided to sit down with Stephanie Ruhle, give an interview. Like I said, and I want to get your comment. I listened to this. I do feel physically dumber. Having listened to it, and as someone who has, my entire life going to school, I couldn't open a textbook. I wouldn't pay attention. I'd wander off, daydream, and then the bell would ring. It's very hard for me to follow things that are nonsensical and fundamentally uninteresting. It took me multiple listens to try and make sense of what she was saying. Comment below, did you find it incredibly difficult? And I really, not saying it's a guarantee, there could be a red wall landslide. You're going to see the polls be affected by this. I think the strategy of gaslighting, of just claiming the opposite of what you've done, we're going to make things more affordable. People go, well, we're going to bring down inflation. People going, I know that's not true. The whole strategy of saying the opposite of what is true, I think is going to backfire because people inherently know. That's why they still say that Donald Trump is better on the economy. So most of it is word salad. I know you have a lot, but let's talk about it on the individual issues because we...
No, I don't want to say anything on this. I just want to your point, she did an interview with Chris Hayes. I want the researchers to pull that for the very end because even Chris Hayes is having a hard time justifying how that interview went and the answers on inflation specifically.
Yes.
Crazy.
So
pull that research.
So all references are available. Link in the description. louderwithcrowder.com every day. If we got anything wrong, let us know. And we're doing our best to parse through the word salad and fact check. So Ruhle started by asking Kamala about people not aligning with their policy. Just listen to the question, then I'll give you the nonsensical answer.
You just laid out your economic vision for the future.
Yeah.
But still, there are lots of Americans who don't see themselves in your plans. For those who say these policies aren't for me, what do you say to them?
Okay. So we wanted to separate this. So you see the question? Seems pretty straightforward. Mm-hmm. Now you have Kamala's response.
Well, if you are hardworking, if you have the dreams and the ambitions and the aspirations of what I believe you do, you're in my plan. I have to tell you, I really love and am so energized by what I know to be the spirit and character of the American people. We have ambition. We have aspirations. We have dreams. We can see what's possible. We have an incredible work ethic.
This is real life.
Not everyone has the access to the opportunities that allow them to achieve those things. But we don't lack for those things. But not everyone gets to have stuff on a silver platter. And so my vision for the economy, I call it an opportunity economy, is about making sure that all Americans, wherever they start, wherever they are, have the ability to actually achieve those dreams and those ambitions, which include, for middle-class families, just being able to know that their hard work allows them to get ahead, right? I think we can't and we shouldn't aspire to have an economy that just allows people to get by. People want to do more than just get by. They want to get ahead. And I come from the middle class. Look, my mother raised my sister and me. She worked hard.
Okay.
She saved up by the time I was
This is we didn't want to cut anything out because we don't want to be accused of being misleading. So instead we went with suicidality.
So part of my vision for the economy is let's deal with some of the everyday challenges that people face and address them with common sense solutions, such as affordable housing.
There we go. It's like the low IQ, unfunny version of Chris Tucker, where you only know because of the last words in his phrase. Like, how a man gonna have to go to Crenshaw? You're like, oh, I heard you say Crenshaw.
I can clap for that, I guess.
Affordable housing? It's not a black thing, just to be clear. And I'm not convinced. So, that's the first one. Okay. All right. Not much to fact check there. Let's move on to the next one. Here's the question where Ruhle asked how Kamala would raise corporate tax rates, but would stop companies from leaving the United States. Good question. Here's Wednesday Addams.
Bill Gates just said it this week. If he was in charge of taxes, he would have paid more. But how do you find that line to make sure corporations are paying their fair share, but they're not leaving our country?
Okay. You know what? That's actually a good question.
It's fair.
Let's see if we have a good response.
Well, listen, I work with a lot of CEOs. I have spent a lot of time with CEOs, and I'm going to tell you that
Delicious.
the business leaders who are actually part of the engine of America's economy agree that people should pay their fair share. We also agree that when we look at a plan such as mine, investing in new industries, investing in bringing down costs, investing in entrepreneurs like small businesses, that the overall economy is stronger and everyone benefits. Part of my plan for the economy
this is gonna work, I know
investing in new industries in a way that we have active partnership with the private sector. I've worked with the private sector even as vice president, working with some of the biggest banks and biggest tech companies.
Physically hurts.
Billions of dollars, money going into community banks to increase access
Sounds
to capital
like
for small
socialism.
businesses. Why do those biggest corporations and CEOs do that?
That's
Because they
exactly
know
right.
Those kinds of investments, like in our small businesses and startups and entrepreneurs, actually strengthens America's economy overall, and everyone benefits. So this is not about bilking anybody, but it is certainly about saying, let's make sure that we create opportunities for everyone to grow wealth. I believe that it is not sufficient, and it should not be our goal to just make sure everyone is working. That should be the baseline. That should be a given. And let's create an economy where people have the ability to buy a home, to start a business, to take a nice vacation from time to time.
Like a vacation from her.
Maybe she could negotiate with Putin. I honestly, at this point, I think I would blow his brains out before.
Hey, how's he holding that gun?
This how all American bitches are. They never stop, and this she says nothing.
I put up with KGB, but not this.
Not.
You guys do good Russian.
Isn't this considered it's cruelty to elect a retarded?
So bad.
Okay, here's the next question about homes.
What number is this one?
This is
Three.
Sorry.
I fell
People
asleep.
who want
You
to
can go
buy
take a
home,
dump if you
yes, getting a $25,000 kicker would be great. But it's not just affording a home. We
like
don't
to
have
port a car.
enough in this country.
You're absolutely right.
And one of the main problems
Blow your nose,
are
Port.
regulations and rules, strict rules at a local level. How does the federal government cut through all that red tape and get down to, the suburbs of Pittsburgh and say, we're going to have to build some affordable housing here? How do you connect the two?
Red tape. What about those red shoes? You're either a false pope or an N64 game. Why are those so angular?
Good witch.
Last time I saw shoes like that, there was a house on top of the lady.
They rolled up.
Here's Kamala's response.
So across our country, people rightly are concerned about the cost of housing. So
Okay,
it's
good.
ownership, to your point. That is the solution. Creating more supply under my
She's
plan
doing
includes
blow.
creating tax incentives to work with the private sector and home builders. Part of my goal and the plan would be to create 3 million new housing units for rent and for ownership by the end of my first term. It includes also what we must do to cut red tape. You're absolutely right. It
Good.
takes far too long, and there's too much bureaucracy.
Look at her face.
Associated with home building. And
Put
I say
that
to the
tape around your
developers,
neck.
I know that we have to reduce the red tape and speed up what we need to do around building. And that is going to require working from the federal level with state and local governments. And it's going to be different in different places. Depending on the needs of that community, the needs of that local government, that municipality.
the
but
sad
working
piece of
in
garbage.
consultation and coordination and also around incentives that we create. For example, some of the work is going to be through what we do in terms of giving benefits.
We're not
and assistance
editing
to governments
anything.
around
I hope you
trade-offs.
guys appreciate it. Truth
And
matters.
looking holistically at the connection
Oh,
between
shit.
that and housing. And looking holistically at the incentives we in the federal
two.
government can create for local and state governments to actually engage in planning in a holistic manner.
3.
That includes prioritizing affordable housing.
Okay. I like the words affordable. I like houses. I'm going to vote for her. Here's a question about the Teamsters not endorsing her.
When the Teamsters decided not to endorse you, what was their reasoning? What are they looking for?
Okay. Here's a response.
Let me go back to our just previous conversation. I'm very proud to have the endorsement of the steelworkers and almost every other major union in America because I stand by workers, and I stand by the importance of a union and to understand the benefit and the value of unions. And I understand the importance of investing in new industries and working actively with the private sector to grow our economy.
But I'm asking because there's this idea we want something more from her. What is it?
Well, here's the thing, that back to your point about previous election cycles, Donald Trump made a whole lot of promises that he did not meet, and one would argue broke. Look at Lordstown. He said he was
Don't sell your homes.
Yeah, don't sell your homes. And what happened? It shut down. Outsourcing under Donald Trump. His policies that are about putting, tens to hundreds of % tariffs.
John Deere.
Yes. So part of the challenge, and I don't disagree that it's a challenge, got to earn the vote of everybody, is reminding people of fact, regardless of what somebody says in a small rally somewhere. And I think that's really important. And that's part of what I'm doing in this campaign, is to remind people, just like here in Pittsburgh, of the reality of who has stood with union labor, who stands for American manufacturing, who stands for American jobs.
Okay. Gerald, what are you doing on your phone?
Oh, sorry. I was just checking to see if Alex Jones's OnlyFans was still up. They're still
Is
at
that your checking?
I mean,
I will eat your ass.
Yeah, that's a company phone.
But it sounded
We
like
can
an
see it.
offer.
Nick?
Is
it what?
Trying to reset my career.
Pretty soon, so will she. I played an entire game of Hangman.
And you hung yourself.
Here's another question on which, by the way, the answer makes. I hope you can appreciate that we are making sure you see all of it, because people would not believe it. They would say you edited out the key parts. So tell me if you think there was anything there that we fast forwarded that you could still hear that was a valid plan. Here's Ruhle pressing Harris on banning the sale of U.S. steel to a Japanese company.
U.S. Steel.
Yes.
Right? When you think Pennsylvania, when you think Pittsburgh, you got the Liberty Bell in Philly, and you got U.S. Steel in Pittsburgh.
That's right.
A Japanese company wants to buy them. You are opposed to this idea. Many people are. But if the deal doesn't go through, they have said people could lose jobs. They could close mills. They could leave the state of Pennsylvania. I mean, that is like moving the Liberty Bell to Newark. So which is more important?
It's not like that at all, but here is the answer.
It's most important that we maintain America's ability to have American manufacturing of steel by American workers for a number of reasons. Which includes the economy and how I think about the economy overall. Investing in new industries. There is not a new industry that I can imagine that is not going to require steel as a manufacturing of steel as a fundamental part of what.
Yes, industries need steel.
And having American
That's
workers
true.
in an American company manufacturing that steel for those new industries is going to be critically important, not only in terms of our economy, but also in the context of national security. Most people now
We understand that steel's important, Ms. Harris.
And over-reliance on foreign manufacturing, that we have to be intentional about U.S.-based manufacturing. And of the products that we have to prioritize, steel is one of them. And that's always going to be my priority.
Steel is always going to be your priority.
This is such an insult to the American public.
Yes.
She's talking about steel and building shit, and she's running against Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Just that alone. Not to mention they try to kill him twice. You'd think you might give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, you think you might. But also, here's a fun fact about that. She wasn't even right. I don't know if you know this, but the steel production, when we're talking about U.S. Steel, it would not move to Japan. In fact, Nippon Steel agreed to keep their headquarters in Pittsburgh, honor union contracts, and that they would maintain the U.S. Steel name.
Yes, and by the way, U.S. Steel is begging for this because they're going to go out of business if they don't get it.
Yes.
Very soon.
I don't think she knows anything about American steel. Someone could teach her with like a wrench set. It's steel, Kamala.
You could have just stopped at anything.
I'm joking, of course. I'm joking. This is very frustrating. Hey, if you're still watching, this is the part where I increase interactions and tell you to comment below. What do you think? Right, because that works. But if you don't, you can just click one of these videos playing in a similar vein, or it may autoplay. Ooh, that's fun.